Hey, did people miss the Mets almost blowing games and making things unnecessarily anxiety inducing? No, just me? I'm kidding. That was completely terrifying. Thank God the Mets held on and won that game, but Jesus H. Christ, that was so goddamn scary. Let's just move on and start talking about this game. Roll the music.
Orange and blue running through our veins, rooting for the Mets through incidents and pains. It's a Mets podcast hosted by Michael Bayside. His views and ideas are fortified. Mets news, saints, injuries and wins. We can't wait for the next game to begin. This is the theme song to Mike's Mets podcast. This is the theme song to Mike's Mets podcast. Orange and blue running through.
My heart. This is the most completely. That was beyond scary. I'll give you a glimpse into my life, which was me and my brother texting, and in real time. This is our conversation, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. Where I had just said, as Max Kranick was like getting ready to pitch his third inning of relief, I had said to my brother, the pitching is incredible. And then shortly after that, everything went to hell because Max Kranick was brought out into the ninth inning after pitching two scoreless innings of relief. Looked chef-kissed, impeccable, absolutely unbelievable job. And he, for God only knows what reason, Carlos Mendoza, the Mets manager, decided we're gonna go with Kranick again. And this is such a pet peeve of me is that managers going to a pitcher who and when it looks like okay, like that was done, there was a finality to that eighth inning with Kranick that I was like, oh okay, well that's it for him. And I wonder who we'll see in the ninth. Maybe it'll be Brazaban, maybe it'll be Minter, who knows? And then Mendoza, for reasons that were Mendoza will, I'm sure, put his 2 cents in in the post game. I'm recording this right after, so I can give my very visceral reaction to everything. I thought that was important. He will give his 2 cents about like, oh well, he was looking good. The pitch count was good. He looked. I will say he looked great in the seventh. It was like 9 pitches to get through that inning, and the Phillies looked really lost against them, and that they were not lost. And he looked like he kind of like hit his limit at that point, and Mendoza just kept him in the game. There wasn't anybody getting warmed up. He felt like Kranick could finish that outing, and then he had to break in Edwin Diaz. And Edwin Diaz, I don't know if you noticed, Edwin Diaz has not been like amazing this year. He hasn't quite had the command, hasn't had quite the same stuff for the most part, and we're seeing a Diaz that's still trying to like get into the groove here, and went to the fastball probably too many times. And got lit up, a 3-run home run. All of a sudden, it's a 5-4 game, and me and my brother are looking at this, and my brother literally called. I have to give him credit for this. My brother called the home run, and so this was like, now he goes to Diaz. You can't bring in Diaz his clean innings. It's going to go poorly. Just watch. And sure enough, 3-run home run. My brother says, "I told you." This was a total momentum thing, and this was, the Phillies were feeling all of it. Thank God that like 3-run home run seemed to kind of like jog Diaz loose. Came back, got the next 2 batters out, struck out Bryce Harper to end the game, and Harper was like swinging at sliders that weren't even close. They were really filthy pitches. You can see that Diaz was like pissed off, and he was ready to get that finish that one off. Really crazy game that will be remembered for its bizarre ending. That was literally the Mets going into hard tech mode, unfortunately. But this was, it was something to see. I thought it was an amazing performance from Tyler McGill, who that guy can go 5 innings like nobody else. Like after that, it's a little kind of tricky with Miguel. But that he pitched terrific 10 Ks in 5 1/3 innings. It looked really electric on the mound. The 4 walks wasn't great, but I can look past it because I felt he was obviously tremendously dominant. This was exactly what the Mets really needed from Miguel, who on the season now, let's just look at his stats. With that performance, ERA at 1.09. Hell yeah, that's good to see. Yeah, and just allowing only one hit. I mean, the 4 walks isn't great, but like one hit against the Phillies lineup that has been, not overwhelming, but like still one of the better offensive teams in the National League this year. And you gotta like what you're seeing from McGill, who's looked like a new player. I have a new pitcher, I should say. He looks like the guy that they've kind of been teasing for years, where you're like, oh well, he's doing this and that. And what had been said about McGill was that he was working with his brother and on working on the command, his off speed stuff, getting all that working, and it seems to have done the job. Like he does look like the pitcher that we've seen teased but never really seen the full product, and we're seeing a great month from him. How he maintains this going forward for the entire season is anybody's guess, but he definitely looks like a guy who has reached a new level. Reed Garrett would come bail him out when he had a couple men on base. Garrett gave up a hit, but got to strike out, and the final 2 batters were erased. Got through that inning, and then went to Kranick. And like I said, Kranick was fantastic for those first 2 innings. And Gary Cohen, we'll hear it from the Mets fan base tonight, because he had to jinx it, which was Cohen had to immediately feature a stat that was like the Kranick having a 0.40 WHIP going into facing the last batter of the 8th inning. Immediately gave up a hit, was able to get out of it, but then gave up, was it 3 straight hits? He was it looked really rough for Kranick at that point, and you really had to see it, because looking at the box score, you'd be like, oh well, that wasn't that bad. And oh, he can't have been that good, or like what happened right there. What happened was Max Kranick just absolutely lost it at that point, and it was hanging the curve. Fastballs were straight over the plate, and you can't get anybody out when you're doing that. And everything that he was doing really well in the 7th and 8th just completely evaporated. And then Edwin Diaz did the opposite of what a closer does, which is he made things much more stressful. A 3-run home run, all of a sudden it's a 1-run ball game, and you still have to get 2 guys out. It's a really god awful job done by Diaz at that point, and it was just not what you wanted to see. But bear down, got the 2 strikeouts to finish off the game. Great, and then we could talk about, after this pitching adventure that we all experienced, we should talk about Francisco Lindor and El Capitan making his name very clear to everybody that this guy needs to be the big C in New York for the New York Mets. The Yankees got Aaron Judge. We got Francisco Lindor here. Lindor, pair of home runs, another home run to lead off the game. So this is his new thing now. Okay, cool. And then the 3-run home run to win this game. We looked like the put away pitch. Like in this case, we were like, oh well, they're up 5-0 now. Like nothing could possibly bring this down. Hold on, Carlos Mendoza, let me come in here and screw everything up. Mendoza really botched that one, and but Francisco Lindor, absolutely terrific. This was exactly what they needed from a player. And I should also say Jesse Winker also got into the home run festivities, hit his first home run of the game. Real shot. It was quite the bomb from him, but the Lindor 3-run shot, in like repeating the Game 4 NLDS game, where he hit that epic grand slam, and he hits it in almost the same spot against another troubled Phillies reliever. It was pretty electric. Again, at that point, everybody was like, "Oh, okay, write that one off." Phillies aren't doing anything in this game, and then it all went to hell. Not fun. But you really gotta love what Lindor's doing right now, which is he has reached a level of confidence now where he's starting to approach after that another ice cold start from Francisco Lindor. He has reached back into it. He is now hitting after this game. So 2 for 3 in this game, 4 RBIs, 2 home runs. His batting average is up to 284. OPS is up to 840. The kind of numbers you really need from your guy, especially when Juan Soto, another tough game for him, 0 for 4 in this one, and he's just not getting any lift, is what I've been noticing, is that he's just like constantly like hammering the ball into the ground. He'll work his way out of it, I'm sure, and there's no real fear here. It's just a matter of, oh gosh, like you really feel for the guy because you can see he's frustrated. You can see he's not having fun. It's not fun to be slumping, and you have so much pressure and attention being pointed at you, and it's tough. And then we have your co-star Francisco Lindor, who's just in this like power surge mode where he's just clubbing home runs. You got Pete Alonso right behind you. He's driving in guys at a rate that is just. These are the results that you're expecting from your big bat and the new big bat that you acquired. That you paid so much money for, and it's a lot of pressure on him. And I feel for him because this is, you're playing on a new team. There's a lot of attention being pointed at you for that. Then you have the giant contract, and then you got Yankees fans, hurling things at you, not physical things, but hurling insults, and it's tough. And it's something that I really hope he gets out of it for a few reasons. Obviously, that it makes the Mets much better if they can get those three guys all going on the same page. Lindor, Soto, and Alonso. If all three of those guys are working and they're all hitting, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, right now it's just been kind of disappointing. But he's doing things to help the team. But this game pretty absent of anything else. It was no walks, nothing really to write home about. And unfortunately, that's kind of what you need him to do, which is you got to produce. If you're not producing, you got to get on base. And nothing for that in this game, unfortunately. Jesse Winker, though, 2 for 3 with that solo home run. Luis Angel Acuna keeps his hitting streak alive. Got another base hit. He's looked really good. I'm excited for Acuna since he's the one who's hitting right now. And then we have Jeff McNeil's return imminent. They don't know exactly when, but looking like sometime in the next couple of weeks that he should be up and ready to go. And his return will probably move somebody off the team. I don't know who, but Acuna would seem to be the logical suspect, although I feel it should be Brett Beatty. But Beatty's been swinging a bat better as of late, but nothing really to report in this game either. 0 for 2 with a walk. Acuna, with his base stealing, with his defense, does a lot of things well, and he's looked with his hitting streak like a player that could be a potential difference maker for them. And it's important. McNeil can play outfield in a pinch if they really need him to, and his positional flexibility is such that they can move him around in the outfield, infield, second base, even play third in a pinch if they really need him to. So having him in there, I don't know what their decision is going to be. It's going to be an interesting one, how they want to structure that roster going forward, because with Jose Siri out for a long time, you're leaving a lot for Tyrone Taylor to do. Tyrone Taylor, a solid player, not a guy who you're going to really expect to be doing a lot for you on a night-to-night basis. So they would much prefer another bat out there, and McNeil, if he is hitting and he looks healthy, can be a real difference maker for them in there. So we'll see how they decide to structure that roster. I'm very interested. I'm a little concerned. I don't want, especially if Acuna is hitting as well as he is, I don't want to see them drop Acuna at any point back down to AAA. But you have Jeff McNeil coming back, and you have also Francisco Alvarez coming back soon at some point. It's going to make this team a lot more dangerous. Certainly make the lineup look a lot more intimidating. If you have the bats of Alvarez and McNeil back in there, it's going to add something to what they already have in there. And their lineup's solid. It hasn't been amazing, but they've been getting by with just 3 or 4 guys really hitting at the rates that they need to be, and they need really a full lineup to get this thing done. Because I assume at some point this pitching is going to start to fall backwards, and we saw it tonight where we've been just kind of praising and throwing a lot of adulation at the pitch lab, at the incredible analytics and the player acquisitions of David Stearns and that front office, who have looked to bring in guys who can do a lot with not quite as much ability and getting it done. And tonight was kind of like the flip side of that coin, where you can see guys being asked to do maybe a little bit too much in this case, and then something can kind of flip. And this was like kind of like the dark side of Kranick. Kranick's dark side is that he can be a guy who could just leave pitches over the plate, and I think he's just kind of tired at that point. He should not have been brought in the ninth inning. Mendoza, a rare bullpen decision that didn't go well for him, and it was just unnecessary. It was complete. And going back to my point before, like I do hate it when managers are just going like, oh yeah, no, this guy's still going. Like, why don't we just do it? Just go on for another inning. Doesn't matter. I find it frustrating. I find it irritating when you have a whole bullpen. There's like 8 relievers that you can go to. None of whom who pitched yesterday. Like, you could have easily found somebody else to go to at that point. So it was a weird decision by Mendoza, one that he'll hear also for bullpen management. But again, Mendoza's bullpen management has overall been pretty good for them for basically his entire career. So I wouldn't read too much into it, but I did feel like it's something where you have to keep at least a better cue or better ear to how your pitcher's looking and how much the pitcher can really handle. Because again, he looked great for those first 2 innings, but toward the end of that 8th, he didn't quite look quite as sharp. That should have been like a big like red flag right then. Like, okay, like he might be nearing the end of his effectiveness right here. Maybe take him out, put somebody else in who's a fresh arm, and somebody who the Phillies haven't seen, because they had seen him for 2 innings at that point. So you're kind of playing with fire to throw them out with even with a 5-run lead. Things can get away with you, especially that Phillies lineup. It's a deep unit, and one that can definitely throw their bats around. And the Mets were lucky to really get their asses out of there without it getting without coming back with a loss or a blown save in that case, and really got through what could have been a really devastating loss, particularly early in that season when you look so in control. You look so you look like you have such a grasp of what you're doing out there, and everything's rolling for you. And then a one inning disaster. The Mets have been on the other side of those sometimes last year, where they were just winning games they weren't supposed to be. They were just maintaining momentum, and again, momentum is a big thing. It is something that can really drive you, and one that the Mets really were lucky to get out of this one. It was a skin of their teeth performance that shouldn't have been that close, and really just was brought in by, again, a manager asking a reliever to do probably a little bit more than they were supposed to, and a closer being brought in a situation that he probably wasn't expecting to be brought in at that point. So tough decisions led to tough results, and thank God the Mets were able to pull that one out. But man, that was unnecessarily scary for Met fans, definitely for me. I also wanted to shout out the Mets for I didn't have a chance to talk about their performance over the weekend, but it was an incredible series from the Mets, 4-game sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals, first time since 1986. Which a stat that we all discovered and everyone was very keen to repeat. So Mets were able to pull out that huge 4-game sweep, and right now looking like one of the best teams in the National League. Obviously one of the most winning teams, and then they have now a 2-game lead in the NL East over the Phillies. It's looking sharp for them. They look good. That Cardinals team is very scrappy. They definitely put the Mets through it. They were making them work for their wins. It seemed like each game there was a time where the Cardinals could have fought back, and they were trying to fight back. They were getting guys on base, they just couldn't get them in. But man, they sort of made it intense and made it a fun series to watch. And that series I thought was just a great indicator and show what the Mets can really do, which is a little bit of everything. You could see games where you could see the offense really kind of churning on all cylinders, and then you could see the pitching staff working to win games, and the bullpen working to win games. The starting pitching looked really sharp, and this has been the story the entire year, which is that the pitching staff has kind of worked in a way that's been far better than a lot of people were expecting. And again, everything that we're seeing, we have to take with a little nugget of uncertainty because we haven't seen them play against the best offensive units. And in this game, we saw them for 8 innings completely neuter a really, really potent Phillies lineup, and it was good to see them pull it out, even though it got really, really scary out of it. But it was impressive to see for them to win this game tonight, and then that whole series. The Cardinals just kept fighting back every game, and we saw the Lindor offensive explosion start to kick off. Alonso was still driving in guys. It was been a lot of fun. Juan Soto got in on the action. It was a good series for Soto. We're hoping that he can kind of get it together for the second and third games of this series against the Phillies, because the Phillies will certainly give even more fight back than even the Cardinals did. So it remains to be seen if we're going to be seeing the full unit here kind of start to work into a groove here. I would love to see if the lineup can get into the same groove that the pitching staff has been in, because the pitching staff has just been electric. Just between the starting pitching, which nobody saw coming, nobody expected these starters to be pitching as well as they were for the first part of the season, and these relievers to be pitching as well as they are. It's been a incredible performance from them. The Mets have looked great thus far, and again, we're right on pace, I think, for my projection, which was 20 wins by the end of April. We seem to be pushing towards that number pretty quickly and confidently, and it looks like we're going to get there. But the Mets have to start winning, have to continue to keep winning games, and the Mets absolutely cannot take their eye off the ball with the Phillies. The Phillies proved with that last inning that they are still dangerous, and they are still a team that we have to take very seriously if we expect to win this division and go further than we did last year in the playoffs.
Orange and blue running through our veins, rooting for the Mets through incidents and pains. It's a Mets podcast, hosted by Michael Bayside. His views and ideas are fortified. Let's do saves, injuries, and wins. We can't wait for the next game to begin. This is the theme song to the Mets podcast. This is the theme song to the Mets podcast.
Thank you for listening to Mike's Mets Podcast. If you haven't already, please follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a like and a comment, it helps so much. Finally, please follow our Twitter and Blue Sky pages. You can find us at Twitter at Mike's Mets Pod, all one word, and on Blue Sky at Mike's Mets Podcast.bsky.social. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day or evening, and let's go Mets.